Welcome to the Pastured Pig Podcast, where we share the successes and challenges of raising pigs on pasture. We talk to producers all over the country, from small homesteads to large commercial pasture operations. Whether you're new to pastured pigs or have been raising hogs for decades, we hope you hear new ideas and new perspectives on pasturing hogs. Here's your host, Troy McClung.
Hello, everybody. This is Troy with the Pastured Pig Podcast. Hope everyone had a great Christmas break and got to enjoy some time off, some time with friends and family, hopefully. If you're wondering what's up with my voice, I got a little bit of a head cold going on there, so it's given me a little bit more of a radio voice, I guess. We'll see how long this lasts. But obviously, as you know, we took a break from the podcast, took a couple weeks off there to enjoy the holiday, and we're back in. And I've got a good interview set up for this episode of the podcast, but also putting a call out for additional interviews as we head into 2020. If you would like to be on our podcast, we can just discuss your setup. And again, don't have to be a huge setup. You can just be starting out. You can be at it for a couple years. You can have 2 pigs. You can have 200 pigs. We just like to talk, and we can talk specifics as well. If there's a specific subject, whether it's feed or farrowing or accommodations or fence, anything like that, just go to redtoolhouse.com, click on our Pastured Pig Podcast link, and there's a form there, just a real couple questions there, real simple to do. Just send me that information. That way I'll have your contact information and we can coordinate a time to have a discussion. Well, I wanted to give some updates. Lots happened since I last did a recording here. So we've got, actually, the night I'm recording this, and tomorrow evening I will be loading our sows to take to the processor. We are indeed going to process them, and we're going to start all over. And actually probably going to do an episode coming up soon with just me talking about our setup and our configuration and some of the new changes that we're going through. So there'll be more to come there as well. Well, I want to hop into our interview here, and as we transition over to the pre-recording, you'll get some of the background here and see what some of my foolishness that made this our second interview of the same person. So I'll catch you guys on the back end.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pastured Pig Podcast. Yet another great interview set up this evening. And ironically, you all don't know this, but this is my second time interviewing DJ because some dummy lost the audio file from the first interview. So DJ and I are going to maybe plow the same ground, but it'll be new for you all. So first of all, welcome, DJ. How are you today?
I'm well. I was all prepared to say long-time listener, second-time caller this time.
That's right. Well, I want to say that out of the 30-some interviews I've done, you're the first and only one that I've deleted so far. So I appreciate, A, you being number one, and B, you being gracious enough to come back and talk again.
Well, the fates may be telling us something with you losing the first one. So if we lose this one, we'll just have to chop it up that we had a good time and not worry about it again.
Yeah, if I recall, I think the first one, you and I, we started swapping stories there, and we went a little long. So maybe that's what it was.
That's probably what it was.
There was some incriminating evidence that we threw out there, and
yes, I have to I have to not talk as much this time. Get more to the point.
I think the good Lord was gracious to block some of that stuff out, so you and I wouldn't get tracked down. All righty. Well, let's, again, I hate to have people listening feel like they're on an island and not overhearing a conversation versus being a part of one. So let's start at the beginning. So your name is DJ Bradshaw, and the name of your farm is?
Shadow Bee Farms.
Shadow Bee Farms. All right. And where are you located?
We are in Rabun County, very northeast corner of Georgia, and Southern Appalachian Mountains, terrain a lot like what you've got there in West Virginia.
Yeah, when I first talked to you, I wasn't sure if you were from New England, Vermont area, but
yes, my accent can be a little deceiving.
Doesn't sound Southern at all. All right, excellent. Well, what's the significance of Shadow Bee Farms? Is there some method to the madness of that name?
Oh no, I've got a good history to the name. It's Shadow Bee for Bradshaws. I was always in my grandpa's shadow when he was living. He died a week after I turned 16, And some of the last conversation we had, he was saying that if any kind of farm stuff was going to be continued, it was going to be me doing it. And when I say farm stuff, we're not a conventional farm. We're just on the side of a mountain trying to make a go at whatever we can. We always had some cows and different things, but he was kind of the one that headed it up. And again, I was always in the shadow, so that's my tribute to him. Shadow Bee Farms.
Very good, very good. I love a farm that has a history to its name versus somebody just taking their name off a street sign like I did. What are you going to do?
It works.
it stuck out.
Unique.
Yeah. All right. Well, so tell us about this your farm setup. Give me the 40,000-foot elevation view of what you got going on there.
All right. We are classified as not making a profit kind of farm.
That's one of those different type of nonprofits, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've joked forever, especially Daddy. He says if you want to make money farming, watch what we do and do the exact opposite, and you'll probably make something.
That's what they always say. Do you want to be? How to be a millionaire in farming? Start with
a couple million. Yeah, exactly. I love that one. I want to put that on the shirt so bad and wear it every day.
No doubt.
But no, we're kind of a little bit of everything farm. We've got pigs. We have currently I think I've got 6 gilts that are 3/4 Berkshire, 1/4 Duroc that we farrowed out ourselves a year ago. We do cattle. We got Santa Gertrudis cattle. They're the big red long-eared that were created there in Kingsville, Texas.
Okay.
I may have. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day on those. We've got honeybees, and when we last talked, I had a lot more chickens than I do now. Bobcats have been helping me out again. So we
feeding the
working on that. Yeah. And we do custom hay. We sell a lot of square bale hay and things. So we're that's the manual labor side of it, and then with it we sell retail cuts of beef and pork at farmers market and in stores and things.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I know that's where we want to camp out later in this conversation. So we're going to stick a pin in the farmers market discussion, and because I really like your approach to marketing and how you do your markets there. So we'll save that for the meat of the conversation. Pardon the pun. But let's talk a little bit about your farm setup. You'd made a comment already, and I know in talking in the past that your farm, you say, isn't ideal for it's not the magical quintessential polycultural farm that people would expect to see on like a picture or something.
Right. That description would make you think that we've got, green acres, the back 40, a little bit of bonanza going. And what it is we got a little spot here, a little spot yonder, and a little spot over across the mountain. Because for anybody that watches your YouTube, you have more flat land to work with than I do. So that says a whole lot.
No doubt.
But yeah, excuse me. Lord have mercy, I done forgot where we were going, Troy. On that.
We're just talking about that's right. Just talking about the layout of your farm.
Oh, that's right. Since this is the pig, we'll concentrate on the pigs.
Sure.
Where they're at, they're on 9 acres, except for 8 and 99/100ths of it is all wooded on literally the side of the mountain. So, when we first started looking at trying to do pigs, we had the natural resource conservation folks come out and they said, well, this is probably the worst place to try to do pigs. So made me want to do it even more. Exactly. So we
challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. So we're making it work, and that's kind of leading into a whole nother side of the farm that we're excited about. We literally had to dig into the side of a mountain to make a big flat area. It's probably a 1/4 acre, maybe 1/2 acre, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
But it is just absolute terrible, terrible dirt. So like the pine trees don't even grow that well there.
Yeah.
So
is that red clay?
It's not even red clay. I don't even know what to call it. We have plenty of red clay.
Yeah.
but where we're at, it's just it's like a real sandy, rocky, crumbly. I don't even know what to call it.
Wow.
It will pack hard, and then you will sink to your eyeballs after a good rain. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so what we do, we have our pigs in a big pen, and if I remember right from last time, we heard the gasps of everybody like, "Oh, you don't have pasture pigs? Why are you here?"
Wrong
So
podcast, buddy.
my bad. So what we are doing with that is it's a really good sized pen. We take it, and anytime it rains or thereafter, best we can, we're putting hay back in it, filling up hay. Pigs walk around, do their business, and chomp it up, mash it in, and then taking it and scooping it out and making a big old compost pile. So I have it mixed in with leaves, mixed in with I've got like tree folks that take and chip up the trees and everything. They've got a spot where they can come just dump wood chips free.
Oh, great.
So I'm just taking it all, mixing it in, and I've got a pretty good pile. And the pigs are going to go into the woods, but right now they are helping me create a little bit of topsoil that I'll be able to go back and spread. So,
yeah. Oh, that's great.
So that's kind of a sideline that the pigs are helping us do. But we're really, really excited that they're there to we can benefit from that side effect, I'll call it.
Right. Yeah. You gotta go with what you got. So that
exactly.
Yeah, that's a great. It's like a little composting machine going on there.
Mm-hmm. We've probably got 3 dump truck loads now. I was mixing it up the other day, and it was a lot more than I was expecting. But we're going to need a lot, and so luckily they're doing what they got to do for me.
Yeah. So how many pigs do you have right now on farm this
I
time of year?
I have 6 gilts. They are currently on Hog Harmony and FarmersOnly.com looking for a boyfriend. Still not figured out what I want to breed to. I've got to pretty quickly because I'm getting away from where I want to be farrowing out. Yeah. We've done the whole thing farrow to finish. I really like the farrowing part, and that's kind of where I want to concentrate. We can talk about that a little bit later down the road too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they range. They're right at a year old, and they were born last winter. Because down here we're a zone 7, so get down in the 30s is kind of average. Well, when these two they birthed out a month apart, the farrowed, I guess I should say it properly. It decided to be the 2 coldest times of the year. Dropped off down into the teens and stayed there.
That's the way it goes.
So we don't use farrowing crates. Not against them. We just don't use them. And that's where part of the other folks just got mad at me. My apologies. But we just got a big one of them we farrowed out in a trailer that I have set up in the pen so that they're used to coming in and out of a trailer. It worked out really well. And then another one is just like a little lean-to building that we much smaller scale of what your farrowing barn was going to be.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
And it worked. We only had 1 stillborn. One had 7, one had 8, and they all lived happily ever after until they didn't.
Circle of life.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Well, good. So what breeds are we talking about here? What did you?
We got Berkshire Durocs right now, and the reason we got into that is we used to live in South Georgia. That's where my wife is from, and my best friend, he is a dairyman down that way, and his family used to do pigs back in the 70s. And their claim to fame is they used to have big auctions, and they had sold a sow, got on the trailer a couple miles down the road. She started farrowing out. By the time the folks got to Alabama, she had 28 pigs and raised 26 of them.
Good. Nice.
And most, they did slaughter floors on the ground, dirt ground. They knew what they're doing. So he's kind of was my mentor. But we had a barbecue master actually contact us about raising Duroc Berkshire crosses to put in their restaurant.
Yeah.
I won't say who because it fell through. They never got back to us, but I pulled the trigger and went ahead and went with it, and we've been rolling ever since.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So as far as searching for a boar, are you looking for a specific breed? Or are you just looking for just anybody with 2 legs and equipment?
Well,
4 legs.
I'm not wanting American Guinea Hog or Cooney Coon or anything like that.
No.
I'm pretty biased that I don't like floppy ears. If you'll remember that from our last conversation, we had quite a conversation about floppy ears.
Now you can't give away too much stuff because people are like, "Hey, I wish I could have heard that."
Yeah, and that's one of those stories. I wish that I wished it could come back in its fullness. But
right, yeah.
But yes, I just don't like a floppy eared pig.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things. So I've been. But I don't mind one if it's crossed like a large black cross with a Tamworth or something. So we're still experimenting, right now it's just trying to find something close.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Because my girls, I've tried to get in there when I know they're in heat and everything, but they have no desire for me to be trying any AI on them. So right now we gotta stick with the real live McCoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's understandable. Yeah, you can go with what you're used to, and there's definitely pros and cons of both sides. So,
yeah, I think part of that was some traits that came from their mamas. Their mamas were okay, but they weren't just exactly flop over and let you rub their belly all the time.
Yeah.
So part of the genetics there. So we've looked at an old spot again. Big floppy ears, not crazy, but going back of the disposition and how. Chefs and different butchers and all really like the meat and the cross. So we're kind of at a pretty open experimental stage to see what we can come up with.
Yeah. All right. So what is we've talked about your pasture setup. What are you doing as far as feed goes? Do you have a specific feed regimen? Or are you just kind of going standard?
We go with just a regular commercial pellet feed. I don't remember. I think it's like a 16% protein. But when it's 17 cents a pound and I can get it bulk, that's what we're rolling with. There's where I'm at. I've not seen any more desire for feeding on GMO or doing organic and all that. So I'm not chasing that rabbit down the hole. If no one's going to pay me more for it, I'm not going to put no more extra work into it than I have to.
Oh yeah, well, that's supply and demand. Yeah, you can't. When you're looking at doubling or tripling your costs, and if your market's not going to carry that burden for you, then yeah, you're just kind of throwing money out on the street.
Exactly. Or out the rear end.
Exactly. Pig doesn't care one way or the other.
Nope.
Yeah, here's your non-GMO organic compost.
There you go. Certify that, buddy.
All right. Yeah, great. So, are you free feeding? Are you bulk feeding? How you doing that?
Right now with just the gilts, we're feeding once a day. We were just kind of maintaining them, so they're just getting a couple buckets once a day. And now that we're looking at going into breeding, I've upped it some to get a little more body condition on them. I mean, they're not slap fat hogs, but they're good enough condition. We're just kind of maintaining. And I'll also go get I've got access to bread from like a bread distribution center kind of thing.
Yeah.
Bread that comes back in from the stores that are expired or close to expiring, whatever. They'll sell it by the truckload. So I go and fill up. I've got a big flatbed truck, and I mean it'll just fill it slap full for not much money. And so that and the conventional feed is doing us a really, really good job.
Yeah. All right. So right now, if you've got the 6 gilts and you're looking to breed, are you looking to breed all 6 of those this year so you could possibly have 6 farrowings?
Probably what we'll do is 2, 2, and 2. Because the way I'm set up now, I will give this caveat: I don't have electricity out there at the farm, but I got a generator for like those 2 nights they came. I kept a generator going to keep a heat lamp going for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. But I put so much hay in there that you woke up and unless something moves, you think they've escaped. So I've got corners blocked off where they can get out from under mama and thing. But um, I did it again, Troy. Totally forgot what you said. I'm so
Oh
sorry.
no, just your breeding schedule. You're going to breed all
Oh,
six at
breeding
once,
schedule,
or you're going to
right?
spread them out.
So no, so two at a time, and give a month or two between, because right now we've got a lot of meat, so we've not been selling any pigs, piglets as some would call, we've not advertised to sell that way, but
Mm-hmm.
that's where we would like to get to. But again, we'll get to that a little bit later in the conversation. But as of right now, that's how we're looking at just doing two at a time, and then a month or two in between, just to make it not quite so hectic, but
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
keep a supply coming and going.
Yeah, spreads that out so you don't have to move all your product at one time in the year.
Right.
You got product coming through each time. Yeah, that's smart. I mean, definitely. Well, all right. So you mentioned something there about the pigs that you've raised before, raising those for meat production, and that's where all that was going. But you've kind of alluded to the fact that you want to maybe do some weaning, provide feeders at some point.
Yeah, I've enjoyed raising raising them up, processing them up, selling the meat, but I would really like to get to where someone says, "Hey, I need X amount of pigs this many times a year," and that's really the direction I'd like to take her farm, because I've enjoyed farrowing. Um, one of them was a difficult farrowing, but we made it through. We just happened to get there in time to pull a stuck pig, and it was a beautiful nightmare, if you can believe it. It but it was enough. It didn't scare me off, and I know they are disasters, and as some know all too well.
Yes, we've had our share of
So,
disasters here lately.
but even watching other folks with their struggles, I still, if I could design it out perfect, that's where I'd be taking us.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about here in the past couple of years the successes that you've had with marketing the meat that you're selling, either direct cuts or at farmers markets or selling to third-party restaurants, those type of things.
Well, and I guess I should allude to this that I didn't earlier. We've been doing this for 3 years straight, and then, excuse me, so sorry.
Yeah.
And then we did a couple 4 years ago, but they learned how to get out really well. And when they wound up on Mama's front porch, she said they had to go, so they went. Um, so for the last 2 years, 2 summers at least solid, we've been selling retail cuts and beef and pork, but again, focusing on pork. We have a unique situation where we are. I can't remember which college course it was, econ or something, but talks about that everybody has an unfair advantage one way or the other. You just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And what we have here is a farmer's market that is held at a food bank. This food bank is an old grocery store that was renovated. So they have got massive, massive cold storage, refrigerated and freezer space. So that's where we store our meat. I currently have 3 pallets of meat there in the freezer, which works out really nice to where we have farmers market. You tell me what you want. I walk in there, get it, I bring it back. I'm also set up. I have a mobile meat license that I can carry freezers on my truck, and we've done that. Which also, because we have it all done USDA inspected at a processor here in county. As the crow flies, it would take on about 15 minutes, but back winding roads, it takes about 30, 45.
Yeah.
And so they do the real basic cuts, the sausage, no smoking, no curing. There's no one around me that does that. And I'll get to that in a minute, how we've partnered with folks in Pennsylvania to be able to bring value added pork in. But so we've, at the time that we're doing this is the 16th of December.
Mm-hmm.
We're done. It's a seasonal, just summertime. I know some folks have them that keep going, but it's on Saturdays. And what we did to kind of help get our name out there is we had a Swine Samplin Saturday. And again, folks are more than willing or glad to use that. You know, I will share the love that because it is a beautiful name, excellent. It catches attention.
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't the one to come up with it, so that's why it's a wonderful
Exactly.
thing. But what we did is we had breakfast meats and lunch meats going. We had our sausages, our bacons, some of our pork chops. I mean, we just did. We went whole hog, Troy.
And there it is.
There it is. You never saw such jokes on this place, folks.
Right, yeah.
But it went really, really well. We did about ads, through Facebook. Didn't do it through my local paper. Probably should have. Probably will next year. Kind of did that at the beginning of the market so that folks would know it. And then every now and then we would have another sampling. But that day we really went all out. I think we had probably 8 or 10 different things folks could try. There's a lot of folks like, oh, I hate to throw that much product away, so to speak, and not cash in on it. But at the same time, the return on our investment for doing that is turned out really, really well for us.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, sampling is kind of a no-brainer as long as you've got the traffic coming through. When you've got 1 or 2 here or there, and you're throwing product away just because it's cold and it's losing its luster, then that becomes an issue. But yeah, man, if you've got the audience, potential audience walking through, then especially if you've got good pork, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Exactly. So, and we don't have to worry about much getting thrown away because if customers aren't coming by eating it, I am. Fruits of our labor.
Exactly.
So,
cleanup systems, yes.
But leaping from that to what we're doing with some Pennsylvania folks that we're friends and partners with. 2 years ago, we just had the plain Jane sausages and things, loose sausage that you patty up for like breakfast sausage, Italian sausage. So some friends of ours up in Pennsylvania have Idaho pasture pigs. Raise them very much like we do, like-minded in our mannerisms and husbandry skills. But up there, they've got so many more options of butcher shops and processing places. So we found one that cured and smoked the bacon and made hot dogs. And our best seller is a jalapeno cheddar pork hot dog.
No, good. Yeah.
That makes you want to slap your mama. It's so good. So it's one of those that I tell folks all the time about. Look at partnering up with someone if you can't do it all, because those that try to do it all, they burn out. If you can find folks that are, if you want to, bring in produce, find folks that kind of are in the like-minded that y'all could do it together, meat and produce. And
right.
But once we got the hot dogs and the bacons and different sausages in addition to what we had from down here, we started making package deals. We would have our one that's got the beef and the pork. It's called Buying the Farm. It's got a whole bunch of everything. And then we got one for it's just the pork. It's everything but the squeal. Then we got a breakfast one and a grill master. And something that I tried this winter is a winter, because we don't really do a CSA. I've not tried that. Waded in the water just to hire this winter and realized that I'm not prepared yet. But we did a winter meat box. Had a couple sign up for middle of them each month. They've just get this set amount of meat. And so we was like, we'll try it real slow, kind of see. and folks seemed very interested in it until I started doing inventories. Like, ooh, this ain't going to work. So, inventory control is key if you're going to try to do things like that.
Sure. Well, yeah. Wow. There's a lot to unpack there, and I really like the idea. And this is something that we've talked about with some other guests on the podcast. That when you have the opportunity to provide value added product, then you can see that markup, that profit potential really starts to come out there. And I like what you did, looking at it and saying, well, okay, our USDA processor doesn't value add a lot of this stuff, so we're going to have to drive 4 or 5 hours, whatever, to do that, so we can incorporate that. And then you guys went a different route in partnering with people. So yeah, you didn't put that additional strain on your farm setup, but you're still able to value add and profit share with this partner.
Right. It may cost us $1.50 more in processing fees, but when I can sell it for $3 to $4 more per pound or package than what I was getting before, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer to try to go that route. And as we've heard from many folks on these podcasts, trying to find USDA and different things, I feel their pain on trying to find value added.
I mean, that's the thing.
So it's
finding a USDA processor is the first hurdle. Finding one that actually does a good job is the next hurdle. And then, like you said, finding the ones that have invested in all this value added stuff, because all the money they've got tied up in being a USDA processor. Are they going to go out and buy the nice stuffers? Are they going to have these natural smokers? All those things that just keep adding more and more regulation because of USDA. And it is tough. Right. Yeah, I would not want to be a processor, that's for sure. But but I think that's you hit the nail on the head there. That it's one of those things for anyone listening that's just getting started in the commercial sales side of this. When you look at the value-added products, if you have access to them, then really look and see what the market will bear. If you see there's 5 farms around you selling the same thing, then go after some of that value-added product that they're not selling, and just see if you can chisel out a niche there.
Exactly. I mean, we sell our hot dogs. They're coming either 6 or 8 in a pack, and I mean we're getting $8 a pack. We're in the grocery store, $1.99 or something like that.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah.
Folks, it's one of those that goes back to the sampling. Everybody's kind of hesitant until they try it. And it's so funny watching folks take a sample. They'll kind of walk, and you'll see them stop, turn around, and come back and say, "I'm going to need 2 packs of those." Right. And those are the coolest to watch. I mean, it's kind of that whole stop, come back,
boomerang effect. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, well, cool. Well, also let's talk a little bit about so with your farmers market setup. You're doing the sampling. What other things have you learned in the past couple years to really set up your booth to really get the word out? I mean, do people know now to come to you because they kind of like the old cartoon, they're just wafting on the smell of bacon, so they just come floating in? or do you have signage? What's your method there?
We've got signs that we stick out on the side of the highway, because the farmers market is right by the main fair. Whatever the fancy word is by the big highway is how we call it. So it's 4-lane, it's north and south, lots of traffic. So the farmers market's got a big sign there that they put out every time, and then we've got ones that say beef and pork, and then days we have samples, we'll put out another sign that says it. But a trick that we did use when we did our swine sampling Saturday was that we did have a box fan set up, and it was in the quote unquote name of keeping flies blown off, but what it was doing was sending that wonderful bacon smell through the masses and watching them eyes glaze over and come floating in and try it. It was you use what you got, like we said.
That's right, man.
I'm not too proud.
Hey, that's there's a reason when you drive past a Burger King that smokestack is rolling like crazy. They ain't making that many hamburgers. They're pumping that stink out so they can try to draw you in. And absolutely,
exactly. That's the key to bread stores. That's why most folks you don't really want bread until you smell it, and they're like, "Oh man, I need some."
Right, definitely. Well, cool. So you set up the fan, you got your signs, you got your samples going. Do you find yourself at this time of year, as the market winds down, do you have repeat customers that are still looking for product? Are you doing deliveries? Are you doing meetups there? How does that working out in the off season?
With how we're set up, all through the farmers market, we're giving out, our business card and flyers, tells folks how to get to us. And then we're on Facebook and all that. So every now and then we'll say, hey, we got a deal going. If you want it, holler at us and we'll meet you and give it to you. But something that we've done in the last couple months, we've taken one step further, and we have actually put meat in like a mom and pop's. They're not really a convenience store, but more like a general store. If to give you kind of a visual, and so we're really excited about that. One of them is very tourist oriented, and right now the tourists are gone from here. That's the county's largest industry is tourism here.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the other one's out more to where the local folks come through. They'll grab a biscuit or a pre-made supper kind of thing. Wasn't sure how it's going to work, and so far it seems to be taking off. We've not getting rich and retiring anytime soon, but it is. We're really excited that they were wanting to work with us, and went in and introduced ourselves and everything. And it's like, oh, you're the pig farmers from down the road, and first thing's like, oh boy, are they going to complain about something? Or,
right.
That's kind of the general
exactly.
thing that happens. We're like, oh, you raise pigs?
Yeah.
But no, they were so happy to see us, and I'm really excited that we're getting to work with them.
Cool. So now are they, for clarity, are they selling your packaged product, or are they taking it and actually preparing food with it?
Yes. We're still, right now, they have a whole freezer of our stuff, and what they've done a time or two, because they've just opened maybe a month ago. They've done like our hot dogs one day just to kind of showcase them and have them kind of as a grab and go kind of meal. And so it's one of those that we're looking at it kind of just to see how, because we're again month and a half in, not really sure what the customers are wanting. If they're wanting more of the hot dog deals and hamburgers, then yes, we'd look at using more of ours. But right now it's more of a really good Sunday evening supper kind of already done up, that needs more stuff than what I've got to offer.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Well, cool.
We're definitely open to the whole use our stuff as your main course for sure.
Yeah. Well, again, there's the reason for that USDA processing to come up, so you can have those doors open,
right,
and be able to have your product moved in that direction.
But we carry insurance. It goes back to the disclaimer. Government.
You got to come back, DJ. I'm losing you.
Nope. Sorry.
That's all right. There you go. Yeah. Try that again.
I mentioned government and my phone goes down. So what does that tell you? But
right.
What I was saying is check with the state ag to see what rules and regulations there are. But yeah, we carry insurance. One of them has asked us for it, and gladly give them the paperwork and things. And it's most folks need to have insurance. It's definitely the CYA, cover your assets approach. And but yeah, and another thing that we're doing with them is we're doing it on consignment, where a lot of folks want to go, it's like, here, buy all my stuff and you resell it. With it being such a new operation, we're like, you know what, we'll take a gamble and work with you here, and I take in X amount, and then every couple of weeks I'll come back in, check it, you'll pay me for what's sold, I'll restock it, and we'll keep on trucking it. And so far we've struck a chord doing that.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's something. I know that's just something new starting with. We may have to have you back on and see how that works out as far as tracking and management and logistics of that. Because I would think getting your foot in the door under the consignment setup would allow you to reach people quicker versus, like you said,
yes.
Because it's all about those type of stores. My goodness, cash flow and profit margins so tight. It's all about cash flow. If they don't if they don't have to carry inventory on the front end, the cost of inventory on the front end, then they'd be more apt to move your product. But Yeah, there's the devil's in the details there as far as tracking, spoilage, all that type of stuff.
Exactly. And I will say this, that both places that we are have a POS, a point of sale that tracks everything. So I mean they have computerized records and things, and then print me a report saying this is what we've sold. And I try to operate off the good old boy. A handshake is a deal done, but at the same time, I really like having the piece of paper saying what has and hasn't happened, and it just makes for easier transactions down the road.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. There's a certain element to a gentleman's agreement, but you're right. When something happens, let's say you have a power outage, and for 3 days, they have freezers go bad, and you've got all that spoilage. What have we discussed before that's happening that's going to get covered? Maybe they have an insurance policy that covers all that. Maybe they don't. Maybe your insurance policy covers it. But those are the type of things you want to do your due diligence and try to get all that spelled out. But man, that's exciting that you're being able to get into those areas there and testing the waters.
Yeah, it's so many other producers I've heard is like, man, we've done so well. We have everything sold before it hits the ground, and I've not been blessed with that issue yet. We've tried selling wholes and halves, and nobody's really taken us up, whatever the correct English way of saying it is.
Gotcha.
Up on it, and so it's like, all right, well, back up and punt, and so that's why I'm way late on getting back into the breeding. I don't want to be stuck with 100 pigs and 15 pallets of meat that I can't move.
Right.
So
yeah, and I mean, because that exponentially that can add up really quick. So yeah, it's good to have the plan and the diversification. If you look at the different ways that you're diversifying, then that always comes in well.
Right. I would love to also be to the point of the restaurant says, hey, we would love to use because we have a lot of farm to table type restaurants here in our county, and here in Raven County, and we're actually the farm to table capital of Georgia. Had designation at the state capitol, whole 9 yards. So we've talked to one restaurant about trying to see if we could meet capacity of what they want of certain things. But another thing that we are working on is becoming the official meat of a distillery here in town. They do weekend shindigs of, they do tours all the time, but then they'll bring in little bands and things on the weekend. So we're looking at making a partnership there of being the official meat provider of Moonrise Distillery. We'll have samples, and in that case, it'll be on the weekend. I'll have my freezers back on the truck, and folks can buy directly from us there. So, it's that side hustle. Just keep it going.
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's again, who was it? Somebody was asking a question. I heard somebody asking a question just earlier today about if I want to become a farmer, should I drop out of college and just study farming, or try farming, or if I go to college, go to an ag college and learn farming, and what do I need to do? And you almost want to say, well, you want to do all of the above, but my goodness, a business class, basic business, basic economics, basic accounting, all of that stuff comes in handy. Basic marketing. Being a pig farmer and standing out with your pigs is the best part of the business. But there's so many people I hear with the deficiencies of, I don't know how to sell my product. I just don't know how to get out there and get the word out about my product.
All right, and the whole wanting to get into stores and restaurants and not knowing how markets work and controlling your inventory. Because I have an animal science degree. I was heavily focused on beef production. Pork wasn't nowhere on the radar, and that was almost 20 years ago. So, but it's a lot of that has helped. I do wish that I had more business classes, but I tried micro econ for 3 terms, and I finally gave up. I was like, okay, I can't quite get this one, and but of course, the way to do it now is you just go to YouTube and watch it, and you learn everything there.
Right, exactly.
That is definitely a league ahead or a jump ahead for most folks.
Well, yeah, it is an incredible asset. I mean, we live in an exciting time because we have an incredible asset. I mean, hey, you and I are having a conversation when we're 600 miles apart, as if we were sitting beside one another. But
Exactly.
just like you said, the resources that we can access. I mean, just think when you and I were in high school, what do we have to do when it was time to research? You went to the library and you checked out
Yeah.
all these books and you stuck your nose in a book for 24 hours.
Now you just cheat and put it in Google and it spits something out, and you just hope your teacher hadn't seen it.
Exactly. That's right.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Let the Google finish your homework. Well, all right, DJ. So what about, I think we've kind of tipped on this a little bit, but looking out, forecasting, since we're talking about economics, forecasting your 5-year plan, what does the next 5 years look like for Shadow Bee Farms, hopefully?
Again, I would really like to, I'm going to say a contract follower because I can't think of a better term, but that's where I'd really like to get to. And still keep some back for us selling our meat or our retail cuts and everything, but really shift focus to doing a very tight control breeding, farrowing. We're, as we've mentioned numerous times, have no idea what direction we're going on the daddy side of the things. So I'm very open to folks saying, hey, I'd be willing to. This is one of those that have to be more than a gentleman's agreement.
Sure.
Try this kind of hog or boar on your hogs, and let's roll with that. So, but other than that, I don't see us quitting anytime soon on doing retail cuts. I've just got too many things working in my favor to stop doing that.
Yeah. It
If that
sounds
makes sense.
like that farmers market setup. Yeah, I wouldn't give up that until I absolutely had to.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully, in 5 years we'll be in quite a few stores. I don't want to be in no big name brand store. You want to keep the local niche feel by staying in mom and pop general stores, convenience stores, kind of thing. And hopefully be in a restaurant. That would be a pretty cool thing. But I also know that selling to restaurants is probably the lowest margin for farmers there is. So the ups and downs of that will weigh out eventually.
Yeah, that's a tough market, and I can't speak from experience because I haven't sold directly to restaurants. But it all depends on the restaurant and their expectations. I think so much because we're so disconnected from our food. Even these guys that own restaurants, they expect consistency. They expect uniformity. And pastured pig operation, not all your pork chops are going to be the same size. They're not all necessarily going to be the same weight. They're not going to have the similar, same marbling characteristics. So it's one of those things where you really have to vet your restaurant well, I would believe, and make sure they understand your operation and you're not a factory cranking out perfect replicas each time. So
Right,
it makes it
right.
tricky.
And I'm one of those. I have no issues, with the big ag things. They're there for a purpose. They're other farmers trying to make their dollar just like we're trying to make our dollar, just a little bit different.
Yeah.
But consistency is the hardest thing to control. Because out of six gilts, breeding them out there, one or two may just be genetically inferior to the rest of them, and then you're banking on that 15 to 20 pigs, and then they just kind of let you down. So I mean, that's true expectations.
Yeah, it is what it is. And like I say, just going in and making sure you're ready to explain your situation and not overpromise and underdeliver.
Right.
Well, all right. So let's stick a fork in this. Let's hit our closing question here, DJ. What, in your experience of raising pigs, what is your favorite experience of raising pigs on pasture?
I still have to stick with just watching a pig's eyes.
Yeah.
They've got so much expression when they're just kind of sitting there and kind of darting their eyes back and forth, looking, see what they can get into, what's up.
Yeah.
Because they don't miss very much. You may think they're sleeping, but they're a lot like a a teenage youngin. They not paying you no attention, but they're hearing everything you say.
Right. Yeah.
That's probably my favorite part is just kind of watching their expressions.
Yeah. Yeah. My pigs roll their eyes at me a lot.
Yes. I'm glad mine cannot speak English.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's times I know what they said through their eyes,
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're
So,
hilarious. I was feeding this morning and feeding inside the stalls, and one of the sows, she turned sideways. She's like, "You're not getting out." And I'm like, "Come on, move." And I put my knee to her side and go to push her out of the way, and she's like, "You're not, okay, yeah, Troy, you're 230 pounds. She's 600 pounds. Guess who's going to move and who's not going to move?" So
funny little man.
exactly. She's like, "I could knock you on your rear end so fast." All right. Well, DJ, I really appreciate you coming on yet again, and your ability to come back and recount your story. I appreciate you doing that and having grace with the fact that I had a technical difficulty there.
Well, I'm glad you allowed me this opportunity. I really do appreciate it.
Well, if people want to learn more about Shadow Bee Farms, where can they find you online?
We are on Instagram and Facebook. We're probably not the most active out there, but you just do the at Shadow Bee Farms and we'll come up on something.
All right.
So we look forward to seeing y'all giving us a shout or a like, or we don't tweet, so can't do that.
There you go. So if any of y'all have any lonely boars that are looking for some dates.
Exactly. Especially close to Northeast Georgia, so I don't have to drive, forever and ever. So
no doubt. All right. Well, DJ, I appreciate it. I pray you have a good evening and a good rest of the week.
Thank you, Troy. I really appreciate it.
All right. Take care, man.
Well, I really appreciate DJ being gracious to come back for the second time and be interviewed. Again, a little technical error there that made me lose the first interview. But really enjoyed talking with him. He's very easy to talk to and got a great personality and just great to just share his experiences with. He actually reached out to me this week prior to this going live and give me an update that he has indeed found a breeding boar and one without floppy ears too. So he's excited about that. So anxious to see how that works out for him in 2020. Well, I pray everyone has a great week, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. All right, take care.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Pastured Pig Podcast. To learn more about our podcast or to submit topics or recommend guests for future episodes, visit redtoolhouse.com.